Well, this video today is about this nib right here. It's a nib made by Geo W Hughes. It's got the name Ajusto stamped on it and nib number 1037F. It's a relief or an italic nib. See if I can make that focus there. Maybe a little bit. A relief or an italic nib. Very much like the Esterbrook relief nib number 314. But there are some significant differences, which I will demonstrate here. Sorry, I just noticed a hair in the tine. Today's ink is Noodler's Blue Eel. It's a lubricated ink, so if you have flow issues, sometimes that helps. So, what you'll notice on most nibs, an italic nib anyway, if you're looking at it on this profile, the point of the nib here comes out like this and is straight. However, with the Ajusto, that's not true. I'll exaggerate this, but it's turned up like that, not that much. Also, if we're looking at the nib in the other direction, it isn't turned up straight across, it's turned up at a relief or an angle. Again, exaggerated like that. So I suspect the reason this was done was to create a smooth flowing pen on the page, kind of like they do with the globe nibs or oval nibs, different names that they have for those. And I think it does work. I have noticed there's a little bit of flow issue with this nib. I suspect it's because it's so fine, or excuse me, so polished that, I don't know, I've just noticed it's a little bit harder to get the ink to flow through that nib than it is with some of the others that I've used. So let's make some comparisons. This is one of my favorites of the narrow italics anyway. This is a nib by Spencerian called Subway. So this nib, like, let's see if I can zoom that in a little bit. Maybe that'll help. Like other italics, has a broad stroke and a narrow stroke. This particular nib has this plating on it. I think it's available with and without it. I think the plating helps it glide a little smoother on the page. I like this nib. So I'll just do a quick writing sample here. Subway by Spencerian. Alright. Let's do the relief nib by Esterbrook. This is a very popular nib in its day for correspondence purposes. I failed to mention with the Subway there is a small amount of flex in the nib. Nothing I would call flexy by any means, but enough to give it some just a little bit of softness. The 314, however, has very little flex in it, and it does have some line variation, as you can see. And let's see here. Sometimes you can tease a little bit of flex by doing that kind of little flourish, but not a lot. I would not call that flexy by any means. This nib does have flex and softness to it. I have found it to be slightly temperamental about its position. So you've got line variation. Like the Subway, it glides smoothly on the page, and I forgot to say earlier that I intended to show this. This is the 314 by Esterbrook, and you'll notice it's non-magnetic. The Subway, of course, it's a plated steel, and this Ajusto, that's grabbing the ferrule on the pen, is also non-magnetic. The flexing in the nib offers some, again, I'll call it softness to the writing. I have found it to be a little bit temperamental. It seems to write better at a flatter angle. Really what you're trying to do, I think, with this nib is, let's say that the tip is tilted up. When you're writing, it's like this, but what you're trying to do is ride there on that ball part of the turned up tip, and you get the best flow with the tines that way. So let's just write Ajusto. I'll try to get some of that flex out of that nib for you. It's a really soft, smooth writing nib, and probably I would prefer it over the 314. I still think I would go towards the Jackson stub if I wanted to write, or excuse me, the Subway stub if I wanted to write with a stub nib. But certainly either of them would be excellent. So, in summary, a good nib if you're wanting to write correspondence. You don't need a lot of flex. You want to get some character to the writing utilizing the italic, and you like a softer, smoother writing nib. This could work out well for you. I think, however, with the turned up tip, you lose some of the fine and wide sharpness that you get with a more traditional stub nib like this here. It kind of you kind of lose that. The thin isn't as thin, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But short of that, I think for what it is, it's a really good nib and really unique. I've never, like I said, seen an italic nib with a turned up point before. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed this, and have a great day.